expressed my opinion on this in my public media briefing in Mombasa, and my utterances were not any different from what happens in other countries when there is a lapse or failure by the intelligence agencies. The nation has witnessed unfortunate instances of several extrajudicial killings, abductions, and disappearances. I firmly believe that if the National Intelligence Service had acted diligently, these instances would not have been witnessed. Under the Constitution, the government agencies are supposed to be accountable to the Kenyan people, including the National Intelligence Service, and calling them out when a dereliction of duty does not amount to undermining them. I am also aware that the Kenya Kwanza government has been at the forefront in calling out officers who do not seem to understand their work. Recently, my boss, the president, publicly complained that there are some PSs and CSs who did not seem to understand their role. Please play for me video number 5, RG5.
On President William Ruto has today described some members of his cabinet as utterly clueless and uninformed about the dockets they occupy. And in a sign of trouble for cabinet secretaries, the State House gates were shut for those who arrived late, with both President Ruto and his deputy GACHAGUA giving a sharp tongue lashing to the latecomers. And our Citizen TV's Timotai Goin reports the atmosphere at the State House, Nairobi, left little doubt on President Ruto's disappointment with a vast section of his 22-member cabinet.
A cold morning in Nairobi, but the seats on the State House grounds came ultra-heated, particularly for cabinet secretaries. The cabinet members came here to sign performance contracts, but the oral appraisal of the day spurred anything between trouble and outright doom.
If you cannot keep time with your employer, you have basically dismissed yourself. I mean, it's just as simple as that. So, for those who came late, who are members of the executive, I will be expecting a written explanation, and it should not include matters of traffic.
Punctuality was at issue, with some cabinet secretaries being locked out of State House for lateness. And from the podium, the president and his senior lieutenants were unforgiving.
Nimeona watu wale wamechelewa, nikaona rais unaniona namjua. Nikaona uso yake nikajua hapa kimeumana. Sababu leo ni siku ya performance contract. Ile siku muhimu sana ya kuja kuweka. Na wewe umefika pale, rais amekaa. Tayari amekaa na ndiye rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Wewe umechelewa ukiwa kuona nani? Who else have you gone to see?
One of the things we need to learn in our performance contract is to beat the traffic.
For the 19 cabinet secretaries present, the atmosphere at State House progressed from bad to worse as President Ruto and his deputy GACHAGUA issued a blistering assessment of the performance of the cabinet members.
Many of you, the people I speak to, don't even know what is going on in your ministries or departments. You have very scanty information. The moment I know more than you in your ministry, then you must begin to understand that something is very wrong. How do you run a ministry or a department or a parastatal if you have no information? That is the highest level of incompetence.
Those of us who came with the president from the political space and who are his friends, and we assisted him to become president. Once he gives us a job, that is the termination of that friendship. The friendship with the president will be based on nothing but performance.
From travel habits to basic work ethic and even media appearances, it was a brutal ground zero appraisal for the cabinet.
Why do you have to honor every invitation that you have been given to every country? Your Excellency, at times we have tried to hold cabinet committees, we can't. 5, 6, 7, 8 ministers are out of the country. Some change clothes at the airport from one country to another. That is the truth. Why can't you regulate yourself? If the president was to travel and honor every invitation, he will be out of this country the whole year.
You just have to decide what is useful, and other things you can leave to our ambassadors out of the country.
So when you hear my deputy saying, find time, travel, but travel and see the people who have hired us, you know, go to different parts of Kenya so that you can get feedback from the public.
We have done so much as an administration, but the information is not out there. Our ministers are quiet. They are called for TV interviews, they don't show up to say what they have done. And then the media have a field day because nobody talks for government. I would rather we spend more time explaining to the people of Kenya what we have done in our respective dockets as opposed to travel. And if we have to travel, let's travel up country to where our wananchi are and explain what we are doing.
And I remember I called CS Chelugui. I didn't find him, so I called his PS, and I found her, and I explained to her, I told her, look, the public is not understanding this. Did I call you or not on Sunday? You know, I told you this is what the public is saying. Please do more sensitization on Hustler Fund Phase 2.
With a very public expression of disappointment in his cabinet, President Ruto has triggered speculation on changes in government as his administration approaches the end of its first year in office. From punctuality to work ethic and general performance, the proverbial axe could well fall somewhere. With the performance contracts expected to foster a culture of high performance in the public service and also ensure that public resources are properly utilized, it is also set to offer a framework for President William Ruto to reward performers and also institute sanctions on non-performers. Chamutai Goin, Citizen TV.
Mr. Speaker, President William Ruto, my boss, and I have been calling out senior government officials when they fall short of expectations. The Director General of the National Intelligence Service is no exception. He's not above the law. He's accountable to the people of Kenya for his performance. And I have had an argument that we should not call out those in the security sector. I would like you to play the next video.
We have the most incompetent Inspector General of Police, I think, in the world. The most incompetent in the whole world. His incompetence may not necessarily play out when things are working, but when things get to a head and you need some decisions to be made, I can tell you for sure, the gentleman we have as an IG cannot make any decision.
Nataka tumwambie ule mtu wa sinema mingi anaitwa nani ule mtu? Ule sijui anaitwa DCI, ule anaitwa nini? Ule mtu anaitwa Kinoti. Awache ujinga. Huyo bwana Kiboti awache ujinga. Sio kama tunaelewana. Huyo Kinoti hakuna kitu amefanya kwa hii Kenya ya kisiasa. Yeye ni mtu ya sinema. Anaendesha makesi kwa magazeti. Anatuandikia barua, sijui barua ya kilomita ngapi. Mr. Kinoti, please save your time. Stop writing to us long letters. Leave matters of elections to IEBC. You have no business in IEBC. You have failed as DCI. We don't want you to fail our elections. Tunaelewana? Huyo bwana Kinoti awache hiyo ujinga yake anaendesha pale, kwa sababu anatukasirisha. Huyo bwana Kinoti tunataka tumwambie awachane na watu wa IEBC wafanye hiyo uchaguzi. Alipatiwa kazi ya kufanya criminal investigation. He has never done anything. Ile kesi yote anafanya kesi kwa magazeti. Akiambiwa apeleke evidence kule kotini ameshindwa. So bwana Kinoti, wacha sinema. You have failed and wait for August so that you can.
Honorable members, that was President William Ruto as Deputy President criticizing IG Mutiabai, DCI Kinoti. Regarding GACHAGUA has learned his job from his boss, that public officers must be called to order when they fell short of expectation. And I never saw anybody bring William Ruto here for impeachment for criticizing the IG or the DCI. This is a very unfair allegation.